We, the American people, trust our Congress members. We just don't trust the devil inside them. Lee Iacocca had some brilliant ideas of how to make America great again. He presented his brilliant plan to President Reagan, but President Reagan countered and said, "We can't have a gas tax. That's the most unpopular thing. I can't run a country with the American people protesting an increase in gas tax." "Wait a minute," Lee Iacocca said. "Are we running this country by the polls? Is that what leadership is all about?" Seems like it is in the year 2007. These days everybody's talking about the national deficit. But because we almost lost Chrysler a few years ago, I had the dubious honor of starting to worry about this problem a little earlier than most people. We were being killed by high interest rates, and it was clear that as long as the government was using up more than 50% of the nation's credit, interest rates could never come down very much. So back in the summer of 1982, I wrote a piece for Newsweek where I proposed a simple way of cutting the national deficit in half. At the time, the deficit was only $120 billion. My plan involved cutting $30 billion from government spending while raising another $30 billion in revenues. I had already learned firsthand that Chrysler was alive only because of the combined efforts of management, labor, the banks, the suppliers, and the government. And so I wondered, why couldn't the principle of equality of sacrifice be applied to the federal deficit as well? My plan was simple. First, I would cut 5% a year out of the defense budget. That would come to $15 billion, and it could be done without affecting a single hardware program. Then we'd call in the Democrats and say to them, "Okay, boys, I want you to match this $15 billion cut with an equal cut in the social programs you put in over the past 40 years. Then comes the hard part. Once we've cut $30 billion in spending, we match it dollar for dollar on the revenue side. First, we raise $15 billion with a surtax on imported oil, designed to help OPEC keep their oil prices at $34 a barrel, not the high-end $100 a barrel in 2007 we're seeing. Then we add a 15-cent tax to gas at the pump, which raises another $15 billion. Even with these new taxes, American gas and oil would still be cheaper than anywhere else outside the Arab world. In addition to all the revenue, we'd finally be creating an energy policy. The next time OPEC struck, we'd be ready for them. Taken together, these four 15s would cut the deficit by $60 billion a year. The beauty of this program is that it spreads the sacrifice equally among all our people, Republicans and Democrats, businesses as well as labor. Sounds like a brilliant idea to me. Maybe we wouldn't be seeing the deficit that we're seeing today. Without a strong, vital industrial infrastructure, we're a nation bristling with missiles that surround a land of empty factories, unemployed workers, and decaying cities. Where is the wisdom in this policy? Third, the Soviet Union has caught us in overall nuclear capability. America no longer has a decisive military edge. We're now defined a program to regain that edge, but its dominance of the national agenda has been so total that I'm beginning to wonder what all these new weapons are going to protect. Right now, our biggest industrial employers are in autos, steel, electronics, aircraft, and textiles. If we want to save millions of jobs, we've got to preserve these industries. They're the ones that create markets for the service sector as well as for high technology. They're also critical to our national interest. Can we really maintain the backbone of our defense system without strong steel, machine tool, and auto industries? Without a strong industrial base, we can kiss our national security goodbye. We can also bid farewell to the majority of our high value added jobs. Take away America's 10 to 15 an hour industry jobs and you undercut the whole economy. Oops, there goes the middle class. 2007, we're feeling it. Some people seem to think that this defeat is inevitable, especially the auto industry. We're the ones who use all the robots. We've got more computer-aided design and manufacture facilities than anyone. We're using computers to get better fuel economy, to clean up emissions, and to get precision and quality in the way we build our cars. Not many people know that the computer industry's three biggest consumers, excluding defense, are GM, Ford, and Chrysler. There can't be a Silicon Valley without a Detroit. If somebody is producing silicon chips, somebody else has to use them. And we do. There's now at least one computer on board of every car we build. Some of our more exotic models have as many as 8. You can't sell your silicon chips in a brown paper bag down at the hardware store. They've got to have a use, and America's basic industries are the users. Close us down and you close down your market. Close down our autos and you close down steel and rubber. And then you've lost about 1 of every 7 jobs in this country. Nor can you defend yourself in a war, because you can't build tanks fast enough without a manufacturing building. Where would this leave us? We have a country of people who serve hamburgers to each other and silicon chips to the rest of the world. Now that's quite dangerous. So it seems like the vault is basically been busted into, and that the American people had no say into this corruption that's been going on, and we're all feeling it. Whether it's loans, or whether it's your job, or if your job's been outsourced, or if it's been cutbacks and disability payments, or Social Security, or with bridges falling apart, or hospitals closing down, or the education system falling apart. I think every American at the gas pump has definitely come to the conclusion that we have a crisis in our country as well as around the world. And so we need to devise a plan, and I think that Lee Iacocca's plan is at least a step in the right direction. Dennis Kucinich has mentioned the significance and importance of the infrastructure of building jobs in America and scrapping the nuclear program, the Star Wars program, and advocating diplomacy and negotiations with peace and togetherness around the world, and not just supporting the corporate warmongers, Halliburton, Blackwater, WorldCom, Enron, that have all turned their backs on their own employees, and in fact has gone to steal their money out of their pensions and devastate their companies and then start up under another name, and now they're involved in this corrupt war. And so the tycoons must come to the realization that Americans have woke up, and that we are willing to still to all work together to reach some type of sacrifice amongst us all. But it's got to be a fair system, and if that means coming up with a fair tax to get it going, that HR 25, then that needs to be considered. The World Bank is definitely a profit-making institution, and that needs to be addressed. They can't be just taking all the gold for themselves and not helping out the underdeveloped countries and the American people that are now feeling the trouble, especially with the American industries. They should be able to loan to the corporations that really do want to stabilize their companies and not have to declare bankruptcy. And that's what's happened to Chrysler. The World Bank should have loaned money. Instead, they say, oh, we just want to make money on money. Well, money on money doesn't promote jobs and doesn't promote stability. It can be a beautiful world if we all work together.